Now, ongoing internal crisis within almost all of Nigeria's political parties, the major ones, and the struggles of their leadership to find a resolution appears to be the big elephant in the room, even as the nation continues on a final stretch to the 2027 elections. In just about a year and a half, coupled with this and the general population or the general perception rather, that the parties themselves are hardly doing enough to mobilize and sensitize their supporters regarding what's expected of them during the next elections, and what plans do political parties have to check violence, and why is the government not showing any inclination towards reforming certain aspects of the Electoral Act ahead of what promises to be a watershed in the annals of constitutional democracy in Nigeria? Well, we are now being joined for his well-considered thoughts on this matter by Dr. Adesina Fagbenro-Byron, a lawyer who was the presidential candidate of the COA party during the 2019 general elections. Good to have you on the morning show, Doctor.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to be here.
Good. So we were having a little chit-chat before we were on air, and you were the Director of Operations for Peter Obi's campaign.
For Peter Obi's, I was Director of Operations, as you know.
Yes.
Operations department in any campaign is the biggest, department.
And now you're a member of the APC.
Yes, since July.
Why did you jump ship? Why have you gone from supporting Peter Obi to now being a member of the ruling party? Well,
the elections are done and done with, and the results are out. And I totally agree with the results. I had a very fair idea that we would be heading that way. Now that you asked me, I also consider that Peter, probably had some shortcomings, which he himself is in denial of, and which we didn't have an opportunity. After any situation, any significant situation in a man's life, you introspect, you ask questions, you learn lessons. You don't go through life by blaming others for, whatever shortcomings, whatever position you find yourself. And as I said, I was a presidential candidate myself. I know what it is. I was a presidential candidate before Obi. In age, I am older than Obi. And yet, I decided to be his Director of Operations, believing and knowing fully well that we needed some kind of momentum. I think Obi's campaign came off the back of the NSAS, a matter that many people didn't appreciate. A number of people within the Obi camp didn't appreciate. And so after the elections and the results came as they did, I felt, I still feel Obi's, he's a little short of what it'll take to be a president. The Labour Party itself did not demonstrate, and you could see that even after the elections, in terms of the brouhaha, the internal wranglings, which a number of us saw long before. But I didn't make any comment, and I wasn't ready to make any comment until after the Supreme Court gave its verdict. Otherwise, I could probably be accused of, someone who was inside, you know what it is. People, without knowing what the word betray is, it's become a popular fling. Everybody says betray. Once you don't agree with him, you betrayed me. So I kept quiet. Now, why I joined APC, and my movement to APC is very clear. If you go into my history, professional, I'm a governance expert, service delivery. I've worked on the federal level and at the state level. I don't have any ill relations with the others. I don't have any angst, personal issues with anyone. And but I make it a point of duty that, I always sympathize with anyone that has to hold the realms of power. It is an arduous task.
All right. Okay, so you worked under the campaign for Peter Obi.
Please. Yes,
and
please.
you have said that, Peter Obi had a lot of shortcomings.
I didn't use the word lot of.
Okay, he had some shortcomings. You said he was in denial.
Which he was in denial
what
of.
he was in denial
Yes.
for. I mean, can you elaborate on those points?
One of it is managing diversity.
Okay.
The second one is the inability to manage conflicts, internal conflicts between a jurisdiction that you superintend. Within the PCC, there was division. And a leader would normally call his,
PCC being?
Presidential Campaign Council,
Okay.
which was different from the party. The Presidential Campaign Council was the one actually running the campaign. So there were about 6 directorates, of which I headed one. Under my directorate, you had mobilization, you had support groups. And the support groups, most people knew that was the main, we relied so much on the support groups. The support groups were tremendous. So, you have to, there was whenever there was internal conflict and you expected the gentleman to step in and sort of do the statesman thing and hear all the sides and then resolve. Because look, one of the things I used to do as director of operations is that I would go 3 days ahead to anywhere Obi was campaigning. And I would resolve internal crises within the party because it's the nature of parties for people to fight. It's
So
either...
you were doing the job?
Oh, absolutely.
So
I did that.
Why? Okay, go ahead.
Because I finished my job. You don't...
No, I said you were...
Yes, I did it. I will resolve it with my team.
Yeah.
We'll go there, set up the stage for Obi. When Obi climbs the stage, and maybe I'm with him for a couple of minutes, I'm out of there going to the next place with my crew, And the support groups, they were in touch with us. It was us they communicated with. And so within that group, we had Director of Electoral Matters, Director of Legal Services, International Affairs, a whole raft. But there was a bit of conflict within, and that wasn't resolved. There was also internal conflict in Labour Party, which was resolved. Now, there are 2 things to resolve any internal conflict. There is audio terram pattern, that is listen to the other side, and the second thing is no man can be a judge in his own case. And in any internal situation, if you have those things, if you have the capacity to appreciate that and apply yourself, you would avoid... So those internal conflicts are there. Yes, please.
Here.
Please
because, the opposition parties have said that the ruling party, or the presidency, they have been multiple accusations that these internal disputes that we're seeing in parties are manufactured, which means that the influence is coming from the outside.
You see, for me, that's a cop-out. It's like going to school, and then you say the person who took first position is the favorite of the teacher. It's ancient. It's a cop-out. The first thing you do is you look at the man in the mirror. What have I done? Or what have I not done? What could I have done better? And you see, we live in an age where people want to listen to everything except the truth. We only want to listen to what is comfortable or what will put our minds at peace. But the truth of the matter is that for every party, APC, PDP, anything that there is a problem, Yorubas would say that and I will interpret that.
I know what that means.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead and interpret because Daniel Bwala made it very famous.
He says that what is making the vegetables rotten, or the beans or whatever is perishable. It starts from within. Nobody can diminish me if I don't open the gates, if I don't give that space. I am not saying there cannot be genuine external attacks, but you look inward first. You fix inside first. When you fix inside, when you fix what you're supposed to do in a party, right? I have quite a history. I ran for local government chairmanship in this local government 25 years ago.
Okay.
So I ran in PDP, incidentally.
So it appears that you have moved from
I have moved, yes. I'm one of those.
Parties
Absolutely.
And you call yourself a governance expert.
No, that's that's my profession.
That's your profession,
If you go into Google, you'll see that what I've done.
And you ran as a presidential candidate
in 2019.
So you believe that you have what it takes to become president of Nigeria?
If I didn't, I wouldn't run. I'm not a frivolous person by no stretch of imagination.
So have you?
I am 66 years old.
Ambition.
Right? And I fully understand and I appreciate, I have a thorough understanding of history of this country, economics, geography, and the laws. I love this country, which is the fundamental thing, and I love its people. And those are the major things you need to run for president. But now we have a president who I absolutely support. Absolutely.
Well, what's your position in the APC now?
I have no position. I'm just an ordinary member.
You're just an ordinary member. But you know, there's been all of
some
these...
people even within APC are not yet sure whether, except those who know me. And a number of people who are high up there in APC, they know me. And they know that I don't join and I don't affiliate with party either for financial or pecuniary or fiduciary reasons.
So what informs
It's on the bottom line that they think that, oh, this man used to be in Labour Party. What is he doing amongst us now?
Yeah,
yes.
But I wanted to hold in on that because you said you've run under the PDP.
Yes.
You've run under COA.
2000.
You've supported a Labour Party candidate.
Yes.
And you're now in the APC.
Yes.
What's the commonality here?
You see, when you ask what's the commonality, then you make the mistake of forgetting that there's a time dimension in it. You're asking yourself, what's the commonality between 2000, when I ran for local government chairmanship in PDP? In COA Party 2007, when I joined with others to form COA Party and ran in 2019, that's 19 years after. And after 2019, if you want, we don't have the time, but I can give you a historical trajectory of why people change. You are not the way you were 20 years ago. You don't believe in the same things. You've had experiences.
I can tell you, I've always been to the left of center
well,
for
my
20
dear,
years. When I asked about the commonality,
yes, the
because
left
if one,
okay,
there's
the party.
Yes, because you can say that political parties do not have ideology. But some people also argue that political parties are vehicles to get somewhere. So I'm wondering where you want to get to.
But the mistake, apologies, what we omit to see is that the parties themselves have not been static in character, form, and shape. We know how PDP started. And by 7-8 years, it was not the same. And that's why it lost out in so many things. We know APC is a new party. You see, it's the people that make the party and the direction which they choose to follow at a particular time. But those of us who support parties and join parties, we do it for two reasons. There are different reasons. There is a thirst in some of us, and I'm sure with you too, to support, to do anything to make your country great. And anybody who gives you space, anybody who gives you access, you don't go to parties you are not invited. You don't go to places you are not welcome. So if you decide...
you also don't go everywhere that you're invited to.
No, that's why I'm in one place and not in two.
All right, so what informed your decision to join the APC? Because, do you believe that the APC, this, or even this Renewed Hope administration,
yes.
do you believe that they have done well? Is that one of the reasons why you
They had just
joined?
gotten, they had just gotten when I joined. Let me put it this way. Let me gather my thoughts. Now, everyone who aspires to lead and every government deserves a chance. They deserve help. For anybody who, I am not going to stay outside to start shouting. That is not my, to shout. Now, prior to that, I have had relationships with a number of people in the APC. I am from Lagos State. Yeah, you can imagine. I was head of DFID in Lagos State for about 7 years, working closely with Fashola, working on the Lagos reforms. I am one of those who was a party to drafting the Lagos State 25-year development plan that ended is it this year or last year? Okay. You get my point. So I have relationships with them. We know each other. My deciding not to support them in 2023 was not personal. I am not one of those who believe that Tinubu is not capable or was never capable. I am witness. Prior to my journey in the year 2000, when Tinubu got into government here, I was consulting for the World Bank. And we did an exercise called, this was in 2000. The World Bank did an exercise. It was an assessment of Lagos State public procurement and public financial management. And the World Bank did it for all the states and the federal. That is what led to BPP.
All right, sorry, because we're running out of time, sorry. You haven't answered my question. I'm just asking, what informed your decision to join the APC?
The belief
I would
that,
like for you to...
Okay, in short, the belief that APC could deliver, the belief that Tinubu was competent, they believe that they had some reformist ideas, and they believe that I could help push them in the right direction.
Okay, before we round up, because you brought up the World Bank.
Yes.
So were you working for the World Bank? Or?
I was a consultant.
You were a consultant,
yes.
Okay. We've been talking very recently...
We used to call them good governance consultants.
Fantastic. Very recently in Nigeria, the topic is our loans and our loan profiles. A lot of these loans are loans taken from multilateral organizations like the World Bank and the IMF. Yes. In fact, we borrowed $1.5 billion for conditional cash transfers, right, to give cash to 70 million Nigerians, something that's very difficult to track.
When was this, please?
This is very recently. So it was shared under the Tinubu administration, right? But the loans started from the Buhari era. Now, we have increased our loan profile by 22% in just a single year. We are now 149 trillion naira in debt.
That is true.
When we think about the influence of organizations like the World Bank and the IMF, the history of structural adjustment programs, the influence of them on countries like Nigeria, not just Nigeria, but across the continent, but let's focus on Nigeria. All these loans that we're taking, are we mortgaging our future and putting debts into the hands of the World Bank?
Well, we are mortgaging our future if we do not spend those sums of money on what we claim or what we want or what we should spend them on. Someone would tell you that the 21st century economies are all predicated on debt. The point is that there are two things we should be looking for: value for money, and making sure that the intention of what we are, getting, you're borrowing money for is valid. Because it is possible that your 120 billion loan, if invested today in a manner which it should be invested, right, can actually triple, quadruple, in some time. So I do understand what you said. I wouldn't have I'm not, like I told you, I don't have any function in government or role in government.
But from what you're seeing, do you see them use these loans like prudently, fiscally responsible?
It's people like me and you who, you see, the government will get the loan. For example, cash transfer. They will give somebody cash transfer, and instead of him to do something with it, he will marry a second wife. How do you challenge that?
Well, you challenge the government for taking the loan for cash transfer in the first place.
Look, I have my views about conditional cash transfer. I believe they should be heavily conditional, right? And I believe that there should be strict rules regarding that. Whoever is doing it now probably has his or her own framework to be able to say that you will ensure that but that's even down the line. There are other things, loans for infrastructure, loans for, that if it is spent, what we are looking for and what we should be tracing and what Nigerians and what I will appeal to Nigerians for is that, look, let us always demand for a review of a policy after a set period without jumping into first challenging the policy. If a government comes with a policy, you say, okay, this is your policy. What do you expect from this policy in 1 year? And then they will tell you, then we'll say, okay, we will wait for you to do it in 1 2, and then after 1 year, you face them with the parameters that they themselves provide. But to say that, oh, this is a policy, we don't know, who is the future and how do we know the matters will change?
We had a lot to unpack, just we didn't have much time. I mean, I would have loved to touch on electoral reforms and your idea
Electoral reforms. Let's go back to Wise and let's see how many people.
Let's go back to what?
Wise.
Yes.
Wise's report. Bless his soul. I think it should.
Justice
yes, people should start by revisiting and thinking about how much. You see, we don't just jump into issues.
Right.
Bring the Wise report. What did he recommend? Then let us start by even ticking the box and say, okay, what has been done? What is left? Who is to do what is left?
All right. I would like to thank you very much for joining us on the morning show this morning.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.